Assalamu alaikum. I am your host Muhammad Shiraz. Once again, welcome to the program Computer Programming Concepts. This is our program number 16. In this program, we will study about array. Dear students, in earlier programs, you studied about variable. You studied that in language C, each variable should be declared. A variable is a container of value, and a variable can contain a single value of a specific data type at a time. Now, if you want to use a variable that could hold 100 different values of the same type, it is not possible by using simple variable. For this purpose, you will have to use 100 different variables with different names. Suppose you want to hold the average result of 100 students. You will have to declare 100 different variables: average 1, average 2, average 3, average 4, average 5, and so up to average 100. Up to this, it seems good. You will have to declare a variable, you declare the variable. But later on, you will face some problem while accessing 100 different variables with different names. First of all, you will have to remember 100 different names for variables. Then, for accessing those variables, you will have to access each variable through its name. Therefore, it becomes a tedious job. C provides solution to this problem. You can use a special structure of C called array. So in today's lecture, you will study about array. Now, let's start our formal discussion on array. What is array? Array is a linear data structure having the following properties. Array should have a single name, a fixed length, which means by using array, you can access fixed number of values. And a very important property of array is that all the elements of the array should be of the same data type. It means that if we say an array is of int type, then all the values of array must be of int type. If you declare an array of float type, then all the values of array must be of float type. If you declare an array of character type, then all the values of array must be of character type. That's why we say that all the elements of the array are of the same data type. And all the elements of array are stored in continuous memory location. As we studied that for each variable, some memory space is reserved. When you declare 5 variables, then memory space is reserved for each variable. An important property of array is that memory space is reserved for each element in the array list, and all the elements of array are stored in continuous memory location. And each element of the array is accessed by using its index number. An array must be declared before using it. The name of array is used to access the elements of the array. And this symbol is called array symbol. An array can be of any data type. Array starts with index number 0 in C, which means that in the list of array the first element is accessed by using index number 0, next one with 1, 2, 3 and so on. Each array have a fixed length. The elements of array should not exceed the size of array. Declaration of array. An array is declared just like normal variables. As you declare a variable of int type, you use the statement int a. Now here in this statement we are declaring an array with the name a. Here the name of array is a. You can use the same naming rules for array as you studied for variable. Here in this case the data type of array is integer and the size of array is 5, which means that the array will be composed of 5 elements. The name of array should follow the rules for naming a variable. Accessing array. As we discussed earlier, that array is accessed by using the name of array. So each element is accessed by using the name of array followed by array symbol, and within the symbol you will have to specify the index number of the element. For example, we declared array of size 5 in the example. Now if you want to access the first element of array, you will have to use the statement a0. This will give access to the first element of array. Similarly, to access the second element, you will use the statement a1. To access the third element, you will use the statement a2. Similarly, to access the fourth element, you will use the statement a3 and so on. Let's study the concept of array through an example. Here in this example we are declaring an array with the name a of size 3 and data type integer. The first element of array is accessed by using index number 0. So the statement at line number 4, a0 will initialize the first element of array to the value 5. Statement at line number 5, a1 will initialize the second element of array to the value 3. Next statement, a2 will initialize the third element of array to the value 8. When you want to display the value of each element, you use just same statement like accessing a variable. Statement at line number 7 will display the value stored at index number 0. Statement at line number 8 will display the value stored at index number 1, and statement at line number 9 will display the value stored at index number 2. Let's exercise this example through the computer. This is the same example. We have declared array of size 3. We are initializing the first element of array to 5, the second element to 3, the third element to 8, and then we are displaying the value stored at each location. As arrays of integer type, that's why we are using the format specified %d. Now let's display the result of this program. You see on the computer, first value 5, second value 3 and third value 8. This is another example for accessing array. In this example we have declared an array of size 5, and an important point is that in this example we are accessing the elements of array by using loop. For this purpose, we have used for loop. For loop will be repeated 5 times, and each time the loop will access an element of array. So first time I equals to 0, I less than equals to 4. This time a0 will be accessed. Then when the value of I will become 1, then a1 will be accessed, then a2, then a3, and then a4. Scanf statement is used to take input for each element of the array. And then the next for loop is used to display the value stored at each element of the array. Let's exercise this example on the computer screen. Here in this example, we are declaring array with the name A of size 5. Then loop is used to take input for each element of the array. First time input will be asked for A0, then for A1, then for A2, then for A3, and then for A4. And then the next for loop is used to display the value stored at each location of the array. When the program is executed, enter value for 0 element of array. I enter 6. Enter value for 1 element of array. Let's suppose 5. Enter value for 2 element of array. Suppose I enter 10. Enter value for 3 element of array. I enter 15. Enter value for 4 element of array. I enter 8. Now you see the value stored at location 0 is accessed through index number 0. A0 is displayed with the value 6, A1 with the value 5, A2 with the value 10, A3 with the value 15, and A4 with the value 8. So this is how to access the elements of array by using loop. This is another example for accessing the elements of array. This example is used. This example will first ask to enter value for each element of the array, and then we are computing the sum of all elements of the array by using another loop. So here first loop will ask to enter value for each element of the array, and next loop is used to calculate the sum of all elements of the array, and then statement number 10 is used to display the sum. Let's see how this program will be executed. Enter value for 0 element. I enter 10. For 1 element, I enter 20. For 2 element, I enter 30. For 3 element, I enter 40. For 4 element, I enter 5. So the sum of all the elements of array is 105. In examples earlier, we discussed how to declare array, how to initialize array by accessing each element of the array individually, and then how to display the value of each element of the array. Dear students, through these examples, we studied how to declare array, how to access each element of the array individually, and how to use the values of each location of the array. You should remember that it is not necessary to access each element of the array in sequence. You can access each element of the array without using any sequence. Suppose we have declared an array of size 5. I may access the element number 3, then element number 5, then element number 0, then element number 4, then element number 1. So it is not necessary to access all the elements of the array in a specific sequence. You may access each element of the array in random order as well. Let's study some more about array. An array can be initialized in its declaration as well. For example, this statement is declaring an array of size 5, name A, data type int, and you see that here the array is initialized in its declaration. Now here the first element will be initialized to the value 2, comma, separates two values. 8 will be assigned to the second element, 6 to the third element, 9 to the fourth element, and 4 to the fifth element of the array. Similarly, next example is declaring an array with the name B, data type float, and there are some values which are used in the initialization of the array. An important point in this example is that here we have not specified the size of array. So when you do not specify the size of array, then array will be fixed to the values in the initialization. When you initialize an array in its declaration, then it is not necessary to specify the size of array. As in this example, we are initializing the float array B to the initial values. Now here in this example, we have initialized the array to three values, 3.2, 5.6 and 6.3. As there are three values in the initialization list, thus the size of array will become 3. You can declare character array as well. char data type followed by array symbol and then the initialization list. Here in this example as well, there are three values used in the initialization list. That's why the size of array will become 3. In that case, when you initialize the array in its declaration, the size of the array is optional to specify. If the size of array is not specified in its initialization, then the length of the array will be equal to the number of values in the initialization list. An array can be of any data type, but all the values of array must be from the same data type. Let's study this concept through an example. Through this example, we want to search for a value in the array list. We have declared an array of size 5. We initialize the array in its declaration and then we search for the value 15 in the array. We have declared a variable val and this variable is initialized to the value for which we are searching in the array. This time val is initialized to 15. It means we will search for the value 15 in the list. First time the value of I is 0, I is less than equals to 4. Yes, condition is true. So first time A0 will be compared to val. If A0 equals to val, no, condition is false. Therefore loop body will be repeated. Then I plus 1, 1 less than equals to 4. Yes, condition is true. If A1 equals to val, as we know val is 15 and A1 is 8, condition is false. Therefore loop body will be repeated. I plus 2, 2 less than equals to 4. Yes, condition is true. If A2 that is 6 equals to val which is 15, no, condition is false. That's why if body will not be executed and loop will be repeated. I plus plus 3, 3 less than equals to 4, yes, condition is true. If A3 equals to val, A3 is 15 and val is also 15, so the condition is true. Therefore the message value found at person D location, that is the location at which the value is found, will be displayed. Let's exercise this example on the computer screen. Value found at location, at 4 location. We can make the program more flexible by asking the user to input value at runtime enter any value. Suppose I enter 15. Program will tell whether this value is present in the list. Yes, value found at 3rd location. Enter val, I specify 20. Value found at 4 location. Suppose I specify 50, then program displays the message that value not found. This is another example for accessing the elements of array. Through this example, we want to find the largest value in the array. We have declared an array of size 5. We initialized array in its declaration. Then we have taken a variable large. This variable is initialized to the first value of array. So this time the value of large will become 10, as A0 is holding the value 10. So large will become 10. Then loop is operated from the second. Then loop will search from the second value of the array. That is why loop has been started from 1, I equals to 1, I less than equals to 4. Condition is true for the first time inside the body. If A1 is the value of I is 1, A1 is greater than large, which is 10 this time. So is 8 greater than 10? No, condition is false. That's why loop body will be repeated. Then the value of I will be incremented by 1. New value of I will become 2. Then condition 2 less than equals to 4. Condition is true. If A2, that is 6, is greater than large, which is 10, no, condition is false. Therefore loop body will be repeated. I plus plus 3, 3 less than equals to 4, yes, condition is true. If A3, that is 15 this time, 15 is greater than large, which is 10, yes, condition is true. So the value of large will be changed and thus large equals to A3. So new value of large will become 15. Then loop body will be repeated. I plus plus 4, 4 less than equals to 4, yes, condition is true. Inside the body of loop, if A4 greater than large, which is 15, and A4 is having the value 20, so 20 is greater than large, that's why the value of large will be changed to A4 and thus the value of large will become 20. I plus plus 5, 5 less than equals to 4, condition is false, as all the values of the array has been checked for the maximum value, and now loop body will not be executed as loop condition will turn out false. The statement following the loop body will be executed and that will display the message largest value %d, and the final value stored at variable large will be displayed. Let's exercise this example on the computer screen. This is the same example. Let's execute it, and the program says largest value in the list is 20. Now let's change the values of the list. Suppose now let's execute it again. Now the program says the largest value in the list is 800. Dear students, you should remember that we can access the elements of array in any order. This example on the computer screen shows that first user will be asked to enter value for each element of the array, and then the second loop is used to display the values of the array in reverse order. You see, array is declared with the length 5, then first enter value for %d element, that's I, enter value for 0 element A0, 1 element A1, second element A2, 3 A3, 4 A4. Values will be entered for all the elements of the array, and then while displaying first I equals to 4, I greater than equals to 0, yes, condition is true. First A4 will be accessed, then I minus minus 3 greater than equals to 0, yes, condition is true. Then A3 will be displayed, then A2, then A1, then A0, and then when the value of I becomes -1, then loop body will be terminated. Let's exercise this example on the computer. Enter value for 0 element, I specify 6, then 8, then 14, then 23, and then 12. But you see, the first value display is 12, that is stored at the 4th element, then 23, that is stored at 3, then 14, that is stored at 2, then 8, that is stored at 1, and then 6, that is stored at 0. Dear students, in today's program, you studied about array. You studied how to declare array, how to initialize array in its declaration, and how to access each element of the array in different manners. We will continue our discussion of array in next program as well. It ends the time of our today's program. We will meet with a new topic regarding array in next program. Till then, Allah Hafiz.